Hello, my name is Natasha, thank you for watching, and I'm going to today do a video about my recent reads. I think I might do it on the last 5 or 6 books that I've read. And we're going to start off with Crooked Kingdom. And this is by Leigh Bardugo, and it is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. I do believe she said that there might be a third book, but it'll be a long time off before she gets to do that. I really enjoyed Six of Crows. I think I gave it 5 stars, and the Crooked Kingdom follows the same group of people. So it's the guy called Kaz Brecker and a collection of people that he gathers together, and I guess you could say they're almost like, think of Ocean's 11, so it's like some of them are like the lower life of the community, the low lives of the community, the riffraff or whatever, and it's those people, but then imagine a little sprinkling of powers, and they're like the underdogs as well. Not everybody has powers, some people have other skills, and they try and pull off a heist in the first book, and the second book is a continuation of that. I can't go into it because I don't want to give away any spoilers. I really enjoyed it. I find these books quite long, and I find them a little bit slow at the beginning, or they just take a little bit of getting into. I listened to the first and the second book as audiobooks. There's a full cast, and that makes it really quite interesting because there's a different person playing a different character, and so it keeps it interesting and keeps it sort of ticking over even when there are slower parts of the story. There are certain things I don't like, how it almost feels like everybody has to be coupled up, or everybody has to have that romance element, or that person that they're into, and I don't necessarily feel that that is essential for the book. But anyway, overall, I gave the Crooked Kingdom 4 out of 5 stars. On Goodreads it gets an average of 4.6. It was a good book, and it's a good start to this video, but let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next book I read is I Heart Hollywood by Lindsay Kelk, and this is the second book in the I Heart series. These were recommended to me, so I have a few of them on my shelves. I don't have all of them, I think there's like 8 or something, but I do have, I think I have 4. So I read this book because the Crooked Kingdom had been quite a big book and it had taken a little while, and I thought it'd be good to have a bit more light-hearted, quick book to get through next, and so that's why I chose the I Heart Hollywood book. This book was written 10 years ago, and it shows. There's some parts which I don't want to say because it would be a spoiler, but there's certain things that I felt uncomfortable with and I didn't like, and I didn't think that they were appropriate in this day and age, and maybe people 10 years ago there wasn't the same awareness, maybe, I don't know, but there were certain things that just didn't sit right with me. One story in particular, one thing didn't sit right with me, so that took the shine off a little bit, but also I just didn't really enjoy it as much as the first book. I have an affinity to New York. I got married there, and I did Camp America there, and I just have a lot of love for New York, so maybe that's why I enjoyed the first book more than this second book. It was a fun, easy read. It was everything I kind of expected from this series, but unfortunately it just wasn't really for me, and it was just an average 3 out of 5 stars. I know people love this series, and as I have the books I will continue, and if this is your type of book then I'm sure you will really enjoy it, but just something about it for me wasn't quite right, and so therefore it was just a 3. But the book I followed that with actually wasn't anything difficult or hard to read. It was Truth or Beard by Penny Reid, and it is the first book in the Winston Brothers series. So in this book we follow Jessica, who's graduated from college and moves back to her hometown as a teacher, and there are the Winston brothers, and she's always had a crush on one of these twins, and this story follows her and her developing relationship with one of the twins. I would say that it's a hate to love book, so if that's one of the the tropes that you like and romance that you like, then it might be right up your street. It's quite sexy in places. Essentially, it was a fun, sexy read. I think I gave it, what did I give it? I gave it 3.5 stars, maybe 4. So I put it as 4 on my Goodreads. It wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, and I'll be continuing the series. The next book I read was Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, and it's the second in the Scythe series. And I had really high expectations for this book because I really enjoyed Scythe, and it was a 5-star book for me. I really enjoyed the premise, and it was just a fun, entertaining read. It was dramatic, and you couldn't predict everything that was going to happen, and it just kept me on my toes. But then there were other things, like it's a different world and things are just in a different way. For example, people don't die from illness or anything. Everything's been cured, and it's just a different time, and I really enjoyed Scythe. I would say I didn't enjoy Thunderhead quite as much. It's more of a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I rounded it up to 5 though on Goodreads, and there was just something a little lacking. I can't put my finger on it, but also I can't say specifics because of it being in a series. I will be reading the 3rd book, of course. It left me eager, very eager. The end left me very eager to immediately start reading The Toll, which is the 3rd book. I haven't done that yet. They're quite big books, and I'm a mood reader, so I just go with whatever I'm in the mood for at a time. I've tried getting a TBR list and a TBR pile and having them ready for the next one, and it just doesn't work. I can't be forced to read those books, because by the time I finish one book I might not be in the mood for that by the time I finish another. So I'm a mood reader. I got this book from my library. I don't own a physical copy, and they don't have The Toll in yet, but I will wait. I'm eager to read it. I think it's a really good series if you like a bit of sci-fi, and I don't know, it's just, there's a bit of action, a bit of adventure, there's, yeah, sci-fi. It's fun. It can be a bit dark at times, there is some death and things, but it's just a really engrossing, good book that I have recommended to people, and I think I will continue to recommend it. I think it's a really good series, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that The Toll continues, and it's just, oh, I'm looking forward to reading that one. So the 10th book in 2020, the 5th book in this video, I do have the first 5 in another video, was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I actually listened to the audiobook of this, and the author narrates it, and I think it just adds an extra level when the author narrates their own books. So this book gets rave reviews from everybody, from people that I trust, from people that I have similar opinions to, and I feel like I'm missing something, because it was a 3.5 to 4 star for me, and that's at a push, and I don't understand why it's got such rave reviews. It was a good book, and it was a good read, but I think I must have missed something, or the things that are happening in the book, obviously I maybe haven't been through the same situation, or I haven't got the same life experience as the character, and so I didn't really, maybe I just didn't really connect as well as maybe these other people did. I think it was a nice read, but not really much happened, I have to admit. And there wasn't the highs and lows and dramatic parts of a story. It was just a very flat sort of storytelling. And for me, that made it kind of a forgetful book. I didn't really care about the recipes that were throughout it. And I don't know if it's because I wasn't in the right frame of mind, maybe I wasn't ready to receive a book like it, I don't know. I didn't dislike it, but I was raised by a younger single parent, and my nan was a very important part of my life. She did a lot of the raising of me in my childhood, but somehow I didn't connect with the book, even though that's one of the major parts of the story. So it might just be that I wasn't in the right frame of mind for it, I don't know. There are so many people who adored this book, so it's just me that thinks that it's a 3.5 really, I think. It's a good book, it just wasn't the big hitting 4 or 5 stars that I was hoping it would be based on other people's reviews. The final book I'm gonna talk about in this video, which is book number 11 that I've read in 2020, is Taylor Jenkins reads The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Had a moment there. And this follows a similar vein in that everybody gave it 5 stars. Loads of people that I follow and that I have similar opinions to thought it was the best book that they'd read of previous years, and I've been meaning to read it. I bought it and I had it on my Kobo and my e-reader, whatever you want to call it, and I was putting it off, and I decided that it was time. It'd been long enough for the hype to have died down a bit, and it was time for me to give it its time. And I enjoyed the story. I liked reading the ins and outs of Evelyn Hugo's life, her marriages, and it was kind of tactical in the way that it was told. At times I followed it so closely and it was so strategic that I kind of believed that it was a biography at times, like an autobiography. It wasn't exactly fast-paced and eventful, because it's more of a reflection of someone's life and telling their story. But it was well written, it was enjoyable. I'm not sure what I expected for it. Oh, ignore this, I have like really sensitive skin, and if I accidentally scratch myself or rub myself I go red. So overall it was a good book, but maybe I just hyped it up too much and I had too much expectation. So it was a good 4 stars from me. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't that 5-star favourite book that I was hoping it was going to be, and that it had been for so many other people, and I feel disappointed that it wasn't. And then maybe it was just that I'd hyped it up so much and I had such expectations. But I've since found people that actually really didn't like it, and I'm not in that camp. I'm not in a 2-star camp, but I'm in the good 4-star thing. But it just, I was disappointed that I didn't fall in love with it. It was just a good book. It was a really good book, but it just wasn't my ultimate favourite, and it didn't make it into my all-time favourites. So I think we'll stop there. I think I've been talking for far too long, but thank you for watching. Check out my first recent reads video for the first 5 books that I'd read this year, and I'd love to hear what your favourite book has been of the year so far. I'm always looking for recommendations. And with that said, thank you for watching, take care, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.